and I started building airplanes when I was 13 years old.
Today on this podcast, I'm fortunate to have Justin Boyson. Am I right?
That's right.
That's good. Justin, it's good to see you.
Nice
here.
to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming, because I think I've asked you several times. I think it's been more than a year or so that I've asked you, and you said, no, until I got your trainer to do it.
Yeah.
When I got Chuck to do it, then you did.
That's right, yeah.
Let's start off with, where were you born?
In Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin?
Yeah.
And you lived there for how long?
All the way through university. So I essentially moved out of the state at 22 when I took my first job.
Okay, do you have siblings?
I have one brother who's younger than me, 10 and a half years younger than me. So.
Same mom and dad?
Yeah.
Okay, mom and dad doing well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're doing very well. So they're still in Wisconsin?
Yes, they are, yeah.
So you left there when you were 21 to go off to school?
Yes. Until I finished university.
Right.
And then I left the state, yeah.
But wait, you went to Rutgers, right?
I got my master's at Rutgers,
MBA
but
at
I got
Rutgers.
my undergrad in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin, you stayed there?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it like for you growing up? Were you more academic or were you more sports-minded as a kid?
I definitely not sports-minded. I'd never played any sports, and most people are surprised to hear that.
And I'm one of them.
Yeah, because I'm tall too, so everybody thinks, since I'm tall, I should be a basketball player or something, but I never played any sports at all. Neither did my family. So I would say more academic, and I was really big into aviation, actually, when I was younger.
What did your father do?
My father is in the radio business. So he was a salesman at a radio station, and he bought a very small radio station while he was working at the station he was at, and he built that up to 5 stations today. So now he's, entrepreneur, and he's still working. So.
And your mother?
My mother stayed at home, so homemaker.
So, so he had it so she could stay home, she could do the traditional, real hard work.
Yes.
Of raising kids.
Right.
Okay, so they're doing really well right now. So your father has 5 stations.
Yes.
What type of stations are these?
They're local stations. They do things, local news to local sports to music, 60s, 70s, 80s music. So it depends on the station and the format, but they're really geared towards local hometown radio, community radio stations that are very involved in the day-to-day
so
life.
was he on it, or did he purchased them, and he's actually the producer?
He never was a DJ or anything like that, so he always was on the sales end, and decided he wanted to have his own station, and bought into a share and bought that person out, and then multiplied it into 5 now. So
how old is your father now?
He's 76.
And he's looking good and working hard and loving it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Does he come from a big family?
No, just a brother. So
just same. So he produced exactly what he had.
Yeah.
Are they the same as far as age gap?
About a 15-month difference. My uncle's older. Yeah.
Do you know your uncle?
Yes.
Really well?
Yes.
Does he have kids?
Yes, 2 daughters. So.
Are they your age?
A little bit older, maybe 8 years older or so. Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. So growing up in Wisconsin, what was it like for you? You weren't sports-minded, so you were really academic. What kind of things did you get involved in elementary school first?
Elementary school, well, probably aviation has always been something that has been around me, and it's pretty common in the city that I'm from. I'm from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is known for aviation. It's where the largest fly-in happens every year. So I was always around the EAA, is what it's called, the Experimental Aircraft Association, and was fortunate enough to kind of bump into the founder and have a relationship with him, and I started building airplanes when I was 13 years old with him on the weekends. And these
are remote control airplanes, you mean?
No, these are real
the big
home built
Cessnas,
like that size, but
a
wood and fabric and tubing plane home kit airplanes.
So you have your license?
I don't have my license. I did take lessons. I took ground school, but I never got over the line in terms of getting the license.
Do you plan to?
I would like to. It's hard living here in Japan to do that sort of thing. But I think once I move back someday, I would like to do it for sure. Yeah.
So what kind of plane? Your first plane? You said you were in your teens when you built your first plane.
Yeah, started. I was 13.
And what'd you build? Was it a two-seater, one-seater?
It's a two-seater. It was called the Poberezny Jrs. So the guy that I was mentioning, his name is Paul Poberezny. He founded this organization, and he basically designed this airplane himself too. And
how many people were part of this building crew?
Probably about 10 of us, but it kind of varied on the weekend.
Right.
So sometimes there were 5 of us there, sometimes 10, whatever. But it was a really unique group of people to hang out with. A lot of older World War II pilots and business people from the community, and so it was a really enriching experience.
Were you the youngest on the team?
I was definitely the youngest. I was the
And then
only
after
kid
you
there.
would be what age, would you say?
Maybe 65.
65.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were all older guys,
Yeah.
and they had you come in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So it was.
How long did it take to build this plane?
It took about, I think we finished the first one in 3 years.
How many did you build?
5. Yeah. 5 of the same one.
He was going to sell these.
No, we donated them to an organization
Okay.
called the Young Eagles Organization, and
Right.
it's an organization that basically gives kids their first airplane ride
Right.
for free. And so these were donated to that organization to help fly, kids in.
Are these
so-
single propeller?
Yes.
Okay. How many horsepower?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Who flew them?
Various pilots that were part of the
Did
organization.
you watch them as they went
Yeah.
up in
yeah,
the
yeah,
first time?
Yeah.
You had no trouble with any of them?
No.
Ah, that's interesting. Did you ever go up in any of them?
Yeah. Once. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
How long was your flight?
Just like 30 minutes or
30
so.
minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this fixed wing or are these over the head? What kind
They're
of wing?
high wing.
High wing,
Yeah.
over the
so
top.
Over
Okay.
the top. Yeah. Yeah. So, very, very cool experience, and every summer, and it just ended a couple months ago. It happens a week every year. About 800,000.
It happens in September every year?
It happens usually the beginning of August, end of July,
Okay.
beginning of August, depending on the year.
Right.
But somewhere up to 800,000 people can come, and 10,000 airplanes, and a lot
Up
of
to what size? From what size to what
everything. Concorde used to come.
size? What?
Yeah,
How long is the runway?
it's a pretty long runway.
Long enough for a
Yeah,
Concorde.
Concorde, and large military cargo jets.
Now, what's
and
this called again?
It's called the Experimental Aircraft Association, EAA. It's called Air Venture.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's once a week, every year in the summer, and people come from all over the world to this event, and it's kind of the Mecca of aviation. And so, growing up in Oshkosh, you're just surrounded by aviation all the time. So you can't help but get the bug. Yeah.
Okay, what other interests did you have? Okay, on in the junior high and the high school, where were you headed?
Yeah.
You didn't get your license, so it wasn't becoming a pilot, obviously.
No, that
you
was
could have.
I was going towards that way to go into the academies, but ended up not doing that. But I'd say the next big thing was I was a congressional page in Congress. So during the junior year of my high school, I moved to Washington D.C. I was nominated by my local congressman and then appointed by Newt Gingrich, was the speaker at the time.
Now, how old were you at this time?
I was 17.
17. Well, this is your last year in high school, right?
Junior year.
Junior
Yeah.
year, right, okay.
Yeah. So moved to D.C. and went to school at the Library of Congress in the Jefferson Bldg. We had our own school. There were only 60 of us, 65 of us.
Was this something that you had to apply to get
Yes.
into? Okay, and you had to have a certain grade level.
Yes.
Okay, would you have to have a 4.0?
No, a B, I think.
A
was,
B average?
Yeah, B average.
Okay, what'd you come in with?
I think I was, 3.5, B plus, yeah.
So you've always, did your mom read to you a lot when you were a little kid?
Yeah. I mean,
What type of books did you like to read?
well,
outside of aviation books? I know aviation was a big book.
well, I've always been a nonfiction sort of guy, so I've never been into any sort of fiction. I just can't stay focused on it, it seems. So I always like to read biographies and just things about.
What were some of your favorite growing up that you still remember?
Geez, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
You don't recall the ones that you liked?
No, I actually wasn't, you know.
Did you ever do Benjamin Franklin's biography, autobiography?
No, I haven't done that one.
All right.
The last one I did was Leonardo da Vinci's, Walter Isaacson.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah, that's a great one.
I just finished that, but I did that on, it's a book on tape, so I listened to it, audio.
Yeah.
He was interesting, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that much about him. I just finished that as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you get to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And what was it like? And there's 60 of you.
Yeah. It was just incredible. I mean, we lived a block south of the Capitol. We had our own dormitories.
Take me through a day.
Usually wake up at 5:15, so wake up very early. Go across to the Longworth House Office building in the basement. They would have the breakfast ready for us, just for the pages. And then we'd take the tunnels, the underground tunnels, to the Jefferson Building, which is, you know, the old kind of historic building, the Library of Congress building that we had the school on the top floor. So if you look at the pictures online, it's very ornate, beautiful building, kind of European style. And our school was up in the very top, and we would look down into that marble, you know, building with the marble pillars, and we'd have our classrooms around there. So we'd have our school from about, I think it was 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, or not, no, 6:30 to 10. So about, you know, 3.5 hours. And it would depend on the day. If Congress was starting early, we'd have to end early and get over to the floor. But we'd only have school till 10. And so there were very short classes, and it was the same sort of curriculum, you know, that we would have in our local regular school. But we need to get over to the House floor. But I think, you know, it was just very unique, because I remember one time we had a, you know, government class, and you know, we were learning about the Supreme Court, and then our teacher said, okay, well, let's get up. We're going to go over to see a hearing now at the Supreme Court. So we get up, walk downstairs, go next door to the Supreme Court building. We were right next door, and walked in on a hearing to watch it. So it was just really, you know.
So what do you think? What type of thoughts went through your mind when you were going through this? Did you think you'd get involved in politics someday, or what was happening?
I was just, I think, in awe of just being that close to power, you know, because, I mean, we had full access to the Capitol, so we were like mini congressmen, so we could go, you know, to the Security Council room, just walk in, you know, we could go to the Speaker's chambers. So we had full run of the Hill. And we were, like, when the State of the Union happened, it was Bill Clinton at the time, we were on the floor of Congress watching the State of the Union, and we met Bill Clinton and we met Al Gore, and you know, and you meet the different presidents that come in to speak from different countries and stuff. So it was just a really amazing experience.
And it stayed with you.
Yeah, I think it shapes you early. I think a lot of us, after we had that experience so young, you know, we just kind of felt, I don't know, maybe a little out of place in a sense. You know, when we went to college and stuff, it gives you sort of a different perspective on things, you know, when you have something like that and experience that. So it shapes you earlier. Maybe it makes you grow up a little faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say in many cases you're looking at other people and realizing they're only getting it academically, but you got it not only academically but emotionally?
Yes. Yeah.
So you got to touch it, you got to be there, you got to feel the walls.
Right. Yeah.
Meet the guys, shake their hands.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing than just talking about them.
Right.
And knowing you'll never get to, you know, you probably in your whole lifetime never get to touch anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Great experience. So.
It's interesting. So did that change your path in any way?
A little bit, maybe. You know, I did. was interested in government, when I was in college. So I started a debate team, and I got involved in student government and that sort of thing. But I never ran for office or thought, to run for office. Maybe I could, someday, but it's not something that's top of mind for me. But it's something that's I always stay close to. I'm interested in reading about. I was always interested in international business. So, my dad was part of the Rotary Club, and he was in charge of the international student, committee. So we had international students come, and they stayed with us for a weekend, and I got to go to some of the events. And I just, I grew up, in the sticks. I mean, I grew up on the lake in the country. I had no neighbors, so I kind of, didn't have a lot of interaction in that sense. So I think that really intrigued me.
What about friends? Do you play with anybody?
There weren't really any kids where I lived, so there were a couple kids at one point, but they moved, and so I never really had that. So I think part of my intrigue for international business is maybe just because of how rural I grew up, and growing up in Wisconsin and whatever. So I wanted to always kind of see the world. So that's kind of what got me into international business and whatnot. And
okay, so you, I'm just trying to picture this now. So do you want to, what do you prefer? What do you feel most comfortable in? And most of us feel comfortable in what we grew up in. So would you rather be out there in the sticks and by a lake and to have that existence now, or do you like the city? Or
I prefer the city, but I like both.
You like both?
I mean, I think it'd be nice to, have something on the weekend, like that sometimes.
You like that?
Yeah, just to kind of recharge. I was home recently, and it's nice, being back where I was from. And
so what'd you do? You just went out to the lake and sat out there?
That's pretty much just was at the lake.
Do you like to fish?
Not a big fisherman, but a boater. We have a lot of boats and like to go out.
What do you do?
Just drive around on the boat and jet ski and water ski and.
Well, by yourself? How you?
Well, with my family, with my brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's up in age now too. He's not that old. I mean, of course. Is he married as well?
Not yet. No.
Okay. You're married, right?
Yes.
Do you have children?
4 kids.
Where's your wife from?
She's from Texas. She pretty much grew up in Texas, but she's American-born Taiwanese. So her parents are from the south of Taiwan. They moved over when they were in their 20s, and she's sort of, moved around a couple different locations, and we ended up meeting in New York when we were living in New York. So yeah.
I was going to say, well, you coming up rural, then of course your school was predominantly white. This rural school you went to when you were growing up.
Yeah.
Right. And when did it start becoming integrated? When you start seeing different people, because you hadn't seen a whole lot other than on TV.
Yeah.
Or did you travel every year?
Well, I did. So there was obviously some diversity at my university, but I studied abroad. I did 2 study abroads. I did one in England. I did one in China. And like I said, I started a debate team. So that was the Model Organization of American States, kind of like the Model UN. So there was a lot of diversity in those conferences from all the northern, southern parts of the Americas. So I would say, that's where, I was able to see more diversity.
Do you find yourself being a political person? Are you really involved in politics? U.S. politics, yes.
I'm.
You don't have to say what you are.
No, I'm just involved. I observe it.
You observe it.
I observe it. Yeah.
Okay, so you're a passive observer.
Yes.
You don't jump into it. So you don't find yourself getting into many political debates or anything like that.
No, I think it's changed after living here, because you're sort of, removed. You're observing from the outside, and you don't get so tied up emotionally in it. You more kind of judge the whole now, looking in. Versus living.
How long have you been outside of the United States?
Well, I've been here almost 6 years now. Throughout my career, I've been in the consumer insurance space, and I've done it in different capacities. I've worked at Ford Motor Company, and I've done insurance work there as a part of my business. I've worked at AIG, and I did it there, and I did an expat assignment in London for a couple of years with them. Then I worked at Deloitte Consulting, and I did insurance consulting in the U.S. and internationally, and then now I've been with Chubb for almost close to 10 years, and in different capacities.
And you said you have 4 children?
4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. Yeah.
How old are your boys? So the boys live for top?
No, the girls are the top. So it goes 9, 7, 5,
Well, you look
1.
at 2 boys, 2 girls. You start off with the boys. So tell me from the top down. What are they?
It's girl, girl, boy, boy. So 9, 7, 5, 1. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she did it for you. Your wife did it for you. You got 2 boys. Did you always want to have 4 kids?
Not necessarily. No, I don't think either one of us kind of anticipated it, but yeah.
So what's the oldest is 9?
Yeah.
And 1. So there's only 8 years between the oldest and the
Yeah.
youngest. That's not bad.
Yeah.
They're going to all be very close.
Yeah, they are. They are already. Yeah.
They can't help it out in
Yeah,
each
yeah.
other's face.
Yeah.
And you have 2 older girls first. I have 4 boys.
Yeah.
And there are 6 years between the oldest and the youngest.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be close because I
Yeah.
come from a family of 4, and my brother's 5 years older. And that's if it's more than 3 years, as chances are, unless the parents know how to parent, you're not going to be that very close. You're not going to be close.
Right.
Because you have different grades, different friends, everything else.
Right. Right.
You become more of an annoyance if
Yeah.
you're the younger one.
All right.
Okay, so before I end a podcast,
Mhm.
Justin, I always like to ask this question.
Mm.
Knowing what you know today, if you could go back in time and meet the younger Justin and give him advice, how old would that Justin be, and what advice would you give him?
I would go back to probably like a 20-year-old Justin and tell him to be patient and enjoy the journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think of any better words. Thank you so much, Justin.
Yes.
Really appreciate
Yeah.
this.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And never forget, it's all on loan, so continue to reach for the stars.
Because you're too blessed to be stressed.